Russell and Hunter's the Brewmance. This is Monday edition, 4 o'clock. Hey, hope you had a great weekend. Mother's Day, by the way. Hope you had a really great Mother's Day. And Rob, what'd you guys do for Mother's Day? Take care of Ma, because I know Ma's going to pop in here, so you can't lie, because Ma listens to the show. So you can't say, oh, we did this and it was roses and all this great stuff and a limousine at Ma's house. And no, you can't lie. You got to tell them straight up. What'd you do?
Went to the VIG in the west side, right off the 101 in Northern Park West, I think it is here in Phoenix. The VIG, It's a good spot. They had a nice brunch menu. So it was my mom. It was Mom Yak, Mrs. H's mom, and everybody else. We had a nice little time having a little brunch for a couple of hours. And, of course, some ice cream to end the brunch.
Why? Was Deucey there or something? Why of course? I don't get what do you mean, of course?
Because you're right there. I think it's Handles. They give you a small, it's like this big out of the cone. It's crazy.
So you have no idea what you're talking about. Handles is an ice cream store?
Yeah, Handles Ice Cream over in Park West.
I know Park West, but I just, I go there for basically there's BJ's there and
Grimaldi's.
There was one place we went to that was terrible. The Cabin or something like that. I mean, it was okay, but it's the first time like me and the kid and the girlfriend and her kid went out. And we're sitting at a table and they had this dude blare and carry like cover songs. And like, I can't even hear anything. We can't hear anybody. It was absolutely terrible. But yeah, so ice cream. I was going to take Ma to the Wigwam out here in the West Valley. $180 for brunch. I'm good.
Dang.
I love lobster omelets as much as the next guy, but let's be real, people. Let's be real.
For $180.
Exactly. There's a place out here, somebody, Diane's or something like that, lobster joint. Have you heard of this?
No, there's one up the street from my house in North Phoenix.
Lobster rolls for like $8.
Yeah, it's like Angie's.
Yeah.
It's like a drive-through. They have napkin. They give you like one napkin, one fork, and that's it. You're out of there.
I don't care one napkin. I don't care if they don't give me napkin or fork. I got a lobster roll for $8.
Cheaper than being in Maine. Can't beat
that. Come on. I just discovered this. I had no idea it was around. There's like 9 locations. Yeah. So you just take the lobster and dump it in an omelet if you want to dang go $180 for brunch.
That is actually amazing because we here in the desert, not often do our seafood options get talked about, but I'm not sure what's changed in the last decade or so, but it's become a lot easier to ship in lobsters, oysters right here to Phoenix. So Buck and Ryder is like my favorite Phoenix restaurant.
Dude. Yeah, it's a joint.
They got great oysters, great steaks, and the value on the steak is great. So that's what I love living here. Oh, you guys live. We get access to everything that anyone else gets to, because we're so big and we're populated. It's easy to make 2 restaurants or 9. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, the guys like Chula Seafood. They go out to San Diego and they do their they have their own boat. They just go get their own stuff and bring it in. It's gone. It's gone. Yes. See? Yeah. I don't know about a lot of lobsters though, but I'm sure they bring their lobsters in from the east side. Yeah. But anyway,
Chula Seafood the other day had a nice little seafood.
Did you really?
Bowl. It was massive. It was delicious. Oh, so good.
Is there one by you or are you somewhere else? I don't even know where they're at. Just our buddy Slav always throws it out there to me.
It's Camelback and Central over by the old radio station we used to work at. The old location. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know the old location. I came right after the old location.
Oh, that's right. You did. Yeah. That's right. You did. I couldn't remember when the transition was. So it was like right on Central and Camelback. There's a plaza. There's an AJ's in there.
Yeah, the AJ's there. Yeah.
It's right in there.
Okay. All right. I'm fine. AJ's the way to go. Yeah. I mean, the AJ's has there's a Huss in there as well.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. Not Lou Malnati's. Lou Malnati's?
It is. I think it is a Lou Mal's.
Yeah, I think it is too. Okay, good. All right. See, brain injury be damned. I can remember this crap sometimes. I can't remember Nancy Pelosi's name, but I can remember where the damn Lou Malnati's is. I guess there's important things in life, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Plus, you're ahead of the game on the president, so that's all that matters. As long as you're a couple steps ahead of POTUS, you're in good shape.
Couple steps. So I don't know if he caught this, but the Duke commencement speech, the big keynote speaker of the commencement address was some Jewish guy, right? So the Jewish guy gets up there, and all of these kids, they stand up and they walk out of graduation. If I'm mom and dad paid for Duke for my kid to go to graduation, I am rushing the field. I'm grabbing the kid by the ear and I'm putting him back in his seat. You sit down right now. You get up again, I'll kneecap you. That's one. Two, nobody cares about your little poopy protest after you graduated Duke. Nobody cares about that. But if they can, I would love for everybody to get their picture taken so all of the jobs, all of the employers around the nation can look at these bozos and say, these are who you don't hire. And then three, that Jewish guy that gave the commencement speech was Jerry Seinfeld. These guys were getting a free Seinfeld show. I got to pay $150 if I want to see that guy. These guys were getting it gratis. And they walk out of the theater. I'm done and done with all of these bozos, all of these protests. I'm done. Bye. Adios.
We have done a disservice to our nation's children over the last 4 years in particular, because I always put it this way, and maybe you've heard me say this before. Compared to every other human in human history, all of these kids graduating Duke have all the advantages the world has ever offered, technologically, degree-wise. You are sitting pretty with that Duke degree.
Yeah.
But just because you get a Duke degree does not mean you were smart, because the other product of this is what we did to kids by keeping them home, not having high school graduations, not letting them play senior year football games outside, mind you, for a virus that didn't really impact kids. We've ruined them. We've turned them into this. And it goes back to this idea, again, at Duke, experts across the board, all these tenured professors that are really, 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 really smart, but none of them know how to turn kids into adults, apparently, because these are the experts that said, no, shut the schools down. They'll be fine. Don't care about the kids. Who cares about graduation? Who cares about high school football games? Well, now look at those kids. They're graduating college and protesting one of the greatest comedic treasures we've ever had, right. Jerry Seinfeld. They're just absolutely stupid. And again, it goes back to this idea, and I'm going to add in Hillary Clinton here for a second, because the former presidential candidate called these kids out saying they're basically ignorant on Middle East affairs. They don't know what they're talking about. So Hillary actually was right once in her life, Mike.
She called them Middle Eastern deplorables. She didn't. She didn't. I made that up. She thought it. I know she did. She little bags of sons of, that's what she called them, but I'm pretty sure she thought that. Yeah. And by the way, watched 3 episodes total of Seinfeld. And I know he's a comedic genius. So I watched the stand-up. I've done all that. Comedians in cars, getting coffee, whatever it was. Fantastic. The guy's a genius. Yeah, but I didn't like the show. I wasn't a fan of the show. Did you watch it?
I've watched it here or there. I was not a religious fan of it because it was in the 90s. I was in high school. It wasn't interesting to me.
Yeah.
I've got several friends that know every episode, can quote every episode, know all the characters.
It was a religion. It's like it's bigger. It's probably big as Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
I want to throw Friends in there like at the same time, but Friends is the worst acted TV show in the history of. I mean, you can look at Disney like TV, like kids TV shows like The Wiggles, better acted than these bozos. Friends, I will go down swinging. Friends is one of the worst shows ever made of all time.
I'm trying to remember.
But Jennifer Aniston smoking like blue flame.
And looks even better now. I don't know how old.
Night.
Like, dang, you look better than you did in the Friends days.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. If we go back in a time machine and we would look at, we look at her then on the show and we're like, hey, how you doing? And then when we look at her now, but we were still stuck back in that time in the 90s, we'd be like, gosh, she old.
Yes.
But Rob and I got old and we're like, she's hot. It's funny how tastes have changed, my friend.
Well, that's it. When you age, apparently your window of attractiveness goes with you.
Apparently.
Because
it's absolutely amazing.
If I go down to ASU and I'm looking around and I'm like, God, you're all babies. Are you sure you're old enough to be here? I'm 24. You look like you're 14. Yeah, right. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, it's just weird. I mean, I had to say today, intern Sarah, I had to say, well, she's 23. I'm like, she's 23? She looks like she's 12. And it's funny because she works at a middle school, so she's a 6th grade teacher, and she like there's people think she's a student. Blends right in. Well, she's out there wearing skinny jeans and Converse, so I mean, she's in with the fits, if you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So, but anyway, Seinfeld gets people walked out. I don't think Seinfeld has ever had somebody stand up and walk out of a show. I don't think that's the first time probably Seinfeld has ever experienced people standing up and leaving. Well, he's like the least offensive comic on the planet, too. His jokes are all in good humor, good taste. He very rarely takes people down. He's not Dave Chappelle. He's just Jerry Seinfeld. He's wholesome. He's funny. And he looks at life in a quirky way, which is what makes him hilarious.
Yeah. And didn't he marry his niece or something like that, or his cousin or something weird like that?
I don't know.
Or she was just 18 or something. I don't know.
They're definitely very young.
Yeah, they've just, all of them have to have some quirk like that. And then please, let's everything be legal on the up and up. But I mean, they'll have some kind of quirk like that we let them just slide on. I mean, not like,
he's not as bad as Woody Allen.
I take it like R. Kelly or anything. Yeah, Woody Allen, please.
Mm-hmm.
I was asked the other day if I've seen this. Oh, have you seen that? It's a Woody Allen movie. I'm like, stop right there. Just no, I haven't. Nope, no way in hell have I seen it. Don't even ask me. Don't even try to find what's the name of that Woody Allen movie? Don't bother. The conversation, that segment of our conversation is now ended. Yeah.
What is it? Is it because of the weirdness of Woody Allen, or you just don't like Woody Allen movies?
He's a talentless asshat, and he's a pedophile. What do I watch his shows for? I don't want just a creepy dude. He doesn't have any talent.
A Roman Polanski movie, and I forget. Ewan McGregor was in it. It was actually a really good movie.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a Roman Polanski movie till after, and then I was like, oh, I feel kind of bad now.
Right?
Roman Polanski and the gross things that he did to was she 13 or something at the time, 15 maybe. Ugh.
Yeah. Do you know I was actually forced to watch last night was Dead Man Walking. Susan Sarandon and Sean Penn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate the two of them. So I was like, I'm not enjoying this.
I'd rather be waterboarded.
I'm not enjoying this.
What, me and Gitmo versus.
It proves my point about death penalty, but I'm like, still don't like it. Nope. Nope, don't like watching this. I think did he win an Oscar for that? If that's the one he won the Oscar for, he gave it to Dictator Tot. He gave his Oscar to little Dictator Tot, Zelensky. He went to Ukraine and gave him his Oscar.
Yeah, because Zelensky's got a great performance going on. He's convinced the whole world to give him money.
All time. There's actually, speaking of Robin as conspiracy theorists, there's actually, I got to look it up. There's a movie coming out about the moon landing where they're like, we don't know if we're going to, basically the crux is we don't know if we're going to get these people back. We don't know if these astronauts are going to live. We need body doubles to do this in a sound stage. And it's A-list actors all the way through. And you're like, holy mackerel, that looks like fun. And it's just a comedy of errors. And I'm excited for it because I don't care. Oh, fine. Oh, they faked the moon landing. Who cares? Okay. Didn't change my world. I'm fine with it. Who cares?
What about the other ones that went to the moon? Were those fake too?
What other ones?
There was like 4 other ones that went to the moon.
See, we don't even worry about those.
That's what I mean. I'm like, I just look at it as we got so bored with it. Like, flying to the moon again. I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But no one ever talks about the other ones were faked. So were those fake too, or are those not faked? I know they weren't covered as much because, the first time gets the most time,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's it. You always second. That's why everybody that's why the Zune? They just didn't make it because everybody had a the what do you call the thing?
The iPod.
The iPod, yeah. Mm-hmm. Everybody had an iPod. So every MP3 player is called an iPod.
Yep.
That's why people say, hand me a Kleenex, because they were the first tissue to mass market.
Yeah. Well, same thing with the Sony Walkman. When the portable cassette player became the Walkman, you knew Sony had won.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody talk about Yetis and stuff like that, just because they're just talking about roto-moto coolers because they were the first to market and they jumped out and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do you know? Yeah, but I digress. Let's go to our really weird neighbors to the north, Canada, who have decided to tell Facebook everyone in Canada is banned, and you need to stop them, Facebook, from publishing any kind of news. They can't publish news. And not in the weird dictatorship way that you think they can't publish news. Listen to Justin Trudeau and exactly how he sees this meta battle.
In his opinion, it'd be likely Meta would work with Canada. We interviewed law professor Michael Geist last week, and he told us that in his view, Meta would unblock news in Canada if the Online News Act were changed. Would your government compromise with Meta so that Canadians could once again post news on Facebook?
Meta, Facebook, has made the decision that they shouldn't have to compensate hardworking journalists telling local news stories.
Compensate?
It is a decision by Meta that makes billions of dollars of profit all around the world, that they have no accountability to journalists that actually tell local stories.
They don't.
Work hard to actually make sure people are properly informed, and instead make money off of sharing of information without recognizing the role they must play in a strong, independent media that is enhancing our democracies.
Enhancing our democracies by acting like a little socialist punk. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. That's the same as Pelosi saying that our democracy is on the ballot. And we'll get to that a little bit later. This is a bunch of noise. Rob and I spit fire at least twice a week on this very platform, on Facebook, on X, on YouTube. And we're not asking, oh, they should compensate us for this because we're giving them our opinion and we're reporting news. No, we know how it works. We're using them like they're using us, and we're starting something new here, and we're okay with that.
That's life in a nutshell. It's their platform. If you want to post on it, you don't get paid for that. I mean, that's should be obvious. But see, this is the indicative. Say that again?
In the terms of use.
Yeah, exactly. Not that anybody reads them, but they're there for us to look at and scroll through real fast and hit the agree button. This is, to me, indicative of one of the major problems worldwide seems to be there are no leaders in politics. People that can motivate, that can inspire, that can not pander to every little qualm out there. Like, oh, journalists are not getting paid as much. Yes, because news was overvalued. It's like music. People used to freak out that music was free when Napster came out and then the iTunes store came in. You could buy individual songs. That was not the model the music business liked. They liked forcing you to buy a whole CD for 2 songs or 1 song. Maybe occasionally you liked 10 out of 12 songs on an album. So they overvalued music more so than we did as consumers because we had limited options. When you have all these options, the value goes down. It's just the way that it works because you're paying for a distribution system. Same thing with Facebook. Facebook is a distribution system that you get access to. And because you get access to it, there's just no value in it. And if no one cares about local news, there's also no value in it. And the reality is, most people just don't care about local news. I live in Phoenix. Mike lives in Goodyear. I really don't care what happens in Phoenix. I hate to say that, but I'm not like, oh, because they're one of our old radio stations has kind of gone all in on this Arizona model. And there's some big stories in Arizona. The Gilbert Goons, a group of rich teenagers that run around and beat people up, killing one person.
Yeah, and they cashed in on that one person's death, by the way. They totally milking that kid. Yeah.
And the case is horrible. The police investigation seems slow. The attorney general seems slow because I guess there was a bunch of kids that had bruised knuckles that were sent to their parents' cabin. Now, that is an interesting story. But zoning requirements and teenagers in trouble. And I was like, okay.
Dude, I came here from LA. And so I came here where the top story was, I don't know, major fires or something like that. This top story, the Suns win again on a hot streak. Let's go to sports immediately. I'm like, what am I watching? Right. No one cares about this. Yeah.
And that's what I get at is you can't force people to care. And only when people care and they're willing to pay for it is there actually a market. So the fact that newspapers, right, was a delivery system, you had to pay almost as much for them to print the newspaper. There was a physical process of that. Now it's behind the scenes. You click a link. There you go. So the delivery system, like music, has changed. And then Facebook now, to get back to Meta, gets to regulate which news stories they like. And Mike and I have noticed this, and Facebook has made a rule that news and political conversation has been tamped down. And on Instagram too, that they own, and that's in their right to do so. Sure. We can complain about it. And I saw several Trump, fans who go on social and post things, complain about it, and you need to do something. I'm okay, cool. It's not your platform.
Yeah.
You know,
you can post a sign. Remember when people did that with Facebook? They posted, I do not give Facebook permission to use my, and Facebook is like, the attorneys are giggling, eating popcorn, going, yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did. It's on page 347 of the user agreement that you decided not to read. It's right there. We own it now. It's ours. So
we own you, actually.
Pretty much. So basically, okay, so here's this. This is the funniest part of this whole thing. Is that when it comes to the user agreement, because if I post that, I do not give Facebook permission to use my images, my content in their own blah, 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 right? Here's the deal. The minute I hit post, it's no longer my picture. I don't own that picture anymore. It says it right in the user agreement. They own it. And they own the video. And even if it's a co-ownership thing and I got to go to court, guess who's going to win in court? The one with more money. And last time I checked my bank account, Zuckerberg has a lot more money than me. Going on a limb. It's close.
He's building a nuclear bunker under his Hawaiian house that he basically stole the land. I mean, he paid for it, but he colonized the land, you know. I just love to say that because he's a big liberal. And liberals supposedly hate colonization unless they're the ones doing the colonization.
Yeah, here's the deal on this. Here's the deal. But go back to Trudeau. Trudeau is, and by the way, Greg, he literally remembers Trudeau's birth. Yeah, said this guy's going to become prime minister one day. It's good. Okay, all right, I'll back you.
The royalty system, for some reason, even though we vote, still exists because his dad was the prime minister.
His dad ran it, yeah.
So like, oh yeah, he must be good. His dad was a prime minister. Okay.
Here's the crazy part of this though. Remember when world leaders were in charge? Not anymore. Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, they're in charge now. They're calling the shots. Governments are freaking out and suing them because they don't have the power that the social media companies do. The social media companies now run it all because we have Canada begging Meta to fall within their laws, and it's like, no, we don't even need you. As a matter of fact, we'll just squash the content there and you deal with the revolt of your people. We don't care. Same with X down in Brazil. Same. And in Google, they run the show. What Google and the social media companies say goes. World leaders are no longer in charge.
Well, it's about information, right? Because these are channels in which you get to pick your information, share it, pick your information to read. And they don't like that because throughout history, and we've talked about this a little bit too, it's really been about a couple things: controlling money and controlling information. I use the Catholic Church as an example because back in, say, the 1400s, the church is growing, but only the priests know how to read. So you have to go to church. You have to hear what the priests have to say to get your knowledge to go live your life. Well, then you got access to more information. You got to make your own decisions. You got to know more. You got to choose a path that suits you. Fast forward to 600 years later during the pandemic, all the government wanted to do is control information, but they couldn't because there's too many people that have voices. So back in the day, when all they had was newspapers, I listened to the Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson interview, Joe Rogan's podcast.
How was it?
It actually was awesome. I highly recommend it if you have 3 hours.
No, I mean, look, two new titans, two new crown titans of media. So, I mean, Tucker was just a dude in the Fox lineup until they crossed him. And now look what he is.
By the way, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No. And I was going to say, Joe Rogan's just some dude from K-Rock in LA. I mean, he's a freaking stand-up comedian and a ringside announcer for UFC. And he's probably one of the most powerful media figures in the world.
Because he does it a completely different way. And the reason I brought that up, the Rogan Carlson conversation, is about information and how it works, in how the effort by the government to control the information. Number one, with classification of documents. Like we already told you that over 50% of documents are classified with the government because it lets them hide information from you. It puts them more in control. And during the pandemic, all they wanted to do was shut down any dissent because you can't question the government after all. That would be bad. But if you go back and you look at history, the 60s and the 70s, they talked about Rogan and Carlson Watergate. And I didn't actually know this. Tucker's spin on this is that Nixon was taken out by the deep state. Now, I didn't know that Bob Woodward one of the journalists, Woodward and Bernstein, Deep Throat. Woodward was a naval intelligence officer and a baby journalist. Baby journalists don't get these types of stories that could bring down a president. And Deep Throat was the number 2 guy at the FBI, feeding Woodward and Bernstein the information. And it's not that Nixon was this hero. Watergate, obviously, he was paranoid.
He wasn't that villain.
No. But Tucker brought up something else about, there's a tape of this, and you can find it on YouTube. Nixon talked to whoever's running the CIA. Tucker's recollection, it was Helms. Richard Helms is the guy's name, who was, I think, the second director of the CIA. Dulles was the first. They even named an airport after him near D.C.
Of course.
Yep. And Nixon says to the other guy, Helms, I know why you killed Kennedy. And the CIA director didn't say anything. It's just an awkward pause.
He went.
And I didn't know any of that stuff. And I didn't know that if you go back to whatever it was, 73 or 74, Watergate, the deep state was already working. And the deep state had the information to give to the journalist. The journalist could use to pressure Nixon to eventually resign or get impeached. So you can see how important that flow of information is, and what Trudeau in Canada wants Facebook to pay journalists. By the way, journalism, not a lucrative career, especially if you work for a local newspaper. If you work for the New York Times, you probably do okay. But if you work for the Farmington Daily Times, and I lived in Farmington, New Mexico, if I remember correctly, the young journalists that I hung out with then were probably making less than $30,000 a year.
Yeah. But I mean, okay, so look at this. So obviously Trudeau is just, again, not as powerful as Facebook. World leaders are no longer as powerful as the social media companies, because if information and knowledge is power, the social media companies are deities. They're gods. They have all the power because they can literally, I mean, look at Facebook. During the election, Facebook could literally squash every Republican or conservative thought in the metasphere, right? And they can absolutely change the United States like that. So with that kind of power, these little sniveling worms, like this spineless punk Justin Trudeau, they have to cower him and kind of get up and have a little press conference flex. They have no power. They're not going to win. In any way are they going to win? But understand this, like Rob was just saying. Rob was saying that the journalism is still not a lucrative kind of gig. You do have to work your way up to the New York Times and things like that. I get it. You know, any type of media. What's being used now as the minor leagues, so to speak, in broadcast journalism? Facebook, YouTube, these social media platforms are it. You don't get to any place in media now unless you have this, and that is the social media presence. Because he's a socialist little spineless punk, he doesn't get that. But I think he is a perfect poster child for the social media companies are now in charge. World leaders are going the way of the dodo bird. Adios, Holmes.
And it's almost just call them world figureheads because they're not leading anything. Leading requires going through difficult times, but bringing people together while you do so. The world has changed. Inflation is high. You go to the grocery store, you have a heart attack every time. You're like, this is all I'm getting for this much money.
Seriously.
I told Mike the other day, I put chicken down. Yeah. Because it was too expensive. Granted, it was like the fancy organ. I was like, you want me to spend $20 on a pound and a half of chicken?
Yeah.
Not today. Not today.
Yeah. Anything that comes from the magical land of Kirkland, I'm good.
Yeah, that's
saving my butt.
Buy in bulk.
Yeah, no joke. Holy mackerel.
My favorite recent purchase was the 2 big Frank's Red Hot. They get 2 big ones at a time.
Yeah.
It's now my new thing in the morning. I make eggs, fried eggs, and a cup of rice, white rice. Put some Slavo salt in there. Go to slavosalt.com, type in the keyword brew, save 20%. Slavosalt.com, the best seasoning you're ever going to need. That's a commercial right there for you.
Yeah, well done. Jeez, kid. Almost sound like the Micro Machines guy for
That's
That's
Slavo money. We're just, just want you to try Slavo salt.
Like I gotta tell you, the Costco's got the prime rib, the pork rib roasts. That's probably the best value. There's $17 feeds me for like 3 days. I had this debate. It's nothing to do with Costco. I actually had this debate because you brought up eggs. So I had this debate because my girlfriend's going in for a procedure at the end of the week. and they were told, no vitamins, no this, no that, like all of this, like all week. And so I'm like, look, we'll have eggs every morning. Eggs are nature's multivitamin. But what do I get? But I was told eggs are bad for you. I was told we need to limit egg. No, not especially in this, not if you're supplementing yourself. If you need to just go with food as your vitamin intake, let's start with eggs. But we were told, eggs are bad. You can't have eggs. You got to only have egg whites. And then she was told, no more salt. The 2 olives were your salt intake for the day. I'm like, what? Our body is made of salt water. What are you talking about? What do you mean? That makes absolutely zero sense to me. So what I was seeing in this the couple of days that we've been having this talk, I was like, essentially do whatever the government tells you to do, health-wise, do the opposite. Just try something different. Don't eat red meat, my tuchus. I have an entire freezer, stand-up 6-foot freezer full of red meat. I'm a portrait of health. Not really.
But this is ultimately it. This was the lesson during the pandemic and lesson of what Trudeau is telling you. You got to fend for yourself, not in an old school survival or cavemen type way, but you have to understand we've gone from protected information to unlimited information in a span of about a decade.
Yeah.
More so in the last 5 years, right? There's so much information. You have to figure out how to sift through it because just like Yoda says, you have to unlearn what you've learned. Most of what we believe is not true. Most of what you believe about yourself is not true. Most of what you believe about others is not true. Most of the narratives that you've been fed, like Richard Nixon, for example, that we're just talking about in terms of Tucker Carlson, the narrative is never quite as simple as politicians want it to be because they don't want complexity. They want make America great again. It's simple. It's easy to understand. Clear message. It works in politics, but it doesn't really work in real life.
Yeah, so when your house is just completely out of order, make this house great again. You can say it as much as you want, but damn it, you got to do something.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Trump did do stuff. I mean, look at the stats. Stats of the stats. He
did
spend like a drunken sailor, but he's stats of the stats.
And that's it. And that's it's nuanced. There are some nuances to Donald Trump. There are many things Donald Trump says that I don't like. There are many positions he took and implemented that I don't like, but there were some that I really do like. That's the reality of it. But
Scotty's a good point. I'm sorry, Robbie. Go ahead.
No, all good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Scotty said no. Yeah, doctors don't cure anything. No, this is pop more pills, man. That's the VA model. This is so many homeless veterans and drug addicted veterans because this is a VA model. Give them drugs.
Absolutely.
Don't fix what happened. Don't fix them at all.
I injured my thumb several years ago. I don't know why. I was working out or something. It just wouldn't heal. So I went in to the urgent care and I said, I just can't get this thing to heal. And he's like, okay, let's try this. Let's try this. Do you want any pain pills? I'm like, no, it doesn't. It only hurts if I did a push-up. It doesn't hurt every day. So I didn't take the pills, but it was that quick for them to offer it. And then a couple of years after that, I went to my regular doctor, my GP, general practitioner. He's like, most of what we do is guesswork. Yeah. And I'm like, thank you for being honest with me.
Urgent cares are the worst. Urgent cares are pill pushers, man. Holy mackerel. I went in, I had a bad ear infection. He's like, okay, we got to get you a Z-Pack for that. And, it's like, let me, he looks pretty painful. I'm going to go ahead and write you some Vicodin as well. I'm like, what? It was like a 45 day dose or something. I'm like, bro, this is going to be knocked out in a day.
Seriously?
Holy.
What happened to Mike? Well, he went to urgent care. He was given 45 pills. Now he lives under the freeway overpass.
Yeah. He offered me weird services for never mind. So yeah, Mike went off the rails.
He's like, I give everybody pain pills and then I go pick them up underneath the overpass.
No.
Ron brings up a good point. If you have a doctor that pushes pills, you don't have a doctor, you have a drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
And like one of our heroes in the talk radio business, Rush, is a victim of that, right? Yeah. He went in, they gave him some because he had, I don't know if it was related to the fact that his hearing loss was happening, and they gave him pills and he just couldn't get off of them.
It's bad. Mm-hmm. That's all they're doing is pushing pills. But Rob and I go to the same doctor, in what are we going to call her? Naturopath?
Yes.
Hormone doctor?
She's definitely specialized in hormones. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the minute I trusted her was this. So I went to the first time. And there was like a 17 vial blood draw. Like it was like, we're testing everything. Like, I mean, like, she's like, well, I think your third toe might have a little, I mean, it was that deep. and so she sat down, and you fill out that paperwork when you get to the doctor, and you lie like I lie like no other. The only time I'm honest is when I go to the dentist. I tell the dentist right when I sit down, I'm like, look, I don't floss enough. I used to chew tobacco. My gums are probably a little puffy. Clean my teeth. I'm a grown-ass man. Stop lecturing me. Don't even give me a lecture. That's what, anyway. So I sit down with the doctor, the Robin I have, and she goes, well, it says here on your paperwork that you have a drink or two a week. And she goes, your blood work tells me differently. I'm like, oh.
That's why she gets the 17 vials to know whether
exactly.
you're
I think one of the vials came out IPA. Yeah. That's basically it. So anyway, but yeah, Western medicine is just a bunch of nonsense and pill pushing.
Well, it's behind both, right? Let's tie the Trudeau thing and the medical thing together. It's all tied through money. And here at Russell and Hunter's, the Brewmance, we look at everything through the lens of money because it's always about the money. Yeah. And that is so apparent in the medical field because that is, if our economy's, let's call it 25 trillion a year, 20% of that is medical. So $2.5 trillion a year is medical treatments, hospitals, doctors' offices, pills, other pharmaceuticals. So you have to really conceptualize that. It is almost as if America couldn't afford to get healthy because our economy would crash because no one would go to the doctor.
We spent, in 2023, $30 billion on just the illegal migrants, just illegal immigrant healthcare. $30 billion.
Yeah, what was it?
Just the healthcare. And you know what that was? It was all pill pushing and checkups. They didn't get any healthier. I mean, if we said, okay, now we have 10 million of the healthiest human beings in the world because we spent $30 billion for it, and now they're contributing members of society. Okay, we'll do what we deal with. Okay, fine. We'll deal with where we are. Okay. But we know that they were just given pills, given continual pills that they're going to be paying for over and over, and we're going to be paying for over and over and over again. $30 billion got us nothing.
Yeah, and maybe, what was that? There was a hospital, I think it was near Eagle Pass, Texas, where there was a ton of migration. They were having all kinds of issues paying their bills because they had to treat a lot of migrants who went there and had no insurance, had no money. So they were just losing millions and millions of dollars every month to try to keep up with it. But
that was like the one in Yuma.
Yeah, and it may have been that may have been it.
Yuma Medical Center,
it, actually. That is it, Mike. I'm glad you remembered that more effectively than I did. Because, that's real problems. That is not something Trudeau's solving with us. Facebook needs to pay journalists. Yeah. No, they don't.
He's such an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just be done with Trudeau? All right.
Well, his next option will be government paying journalists.
Wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt that. Okay, so let's stick on this. Let's stick on the money train. Let's go back to our friends that absolutely fleeced the entire nation and world during COVID. Check this noise out.
Vaccines are actually still government property. Oh, so the government still pays it. But wait a minute, you're onto something. Do you know there was a leaked letter from Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield? And a typical doctor could have, I don't know, 1,000 or 2,000 Blue Cross Blue Shield patients in their panel. If the doctor got to 70% of his population vaccinated with the COVID vaccine, you know what the bonus was to the doctor?
I'm scared to even hear.
About $250,000.
Oh. About $250,000 bonus to a doctor that got 70% of their Blue Cross patients the jab. Now here comes the actual question of this. Listen to this. Oh no, sorry. Here we go.
Yeah. Wow. So the question on the table is, was Blue Cross just giving a doctor $250,000, or were they paid through the government?
No, it couldn't be that, Mike, Rob. No, come on. The government wouldn't do that. The government wouldn't, pay hospitals more money for treating COVID patients than flu patients, would they? No, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't pay or compensate hospitals more for putting people on ventilators, would they? Oh yeah, they did. They did all of that. Yes, $250K for just popping people in the arm. 70%. Get up there. And by the way, the doctors are complicit in this. The doctors have to prove that. Blue Cross Blue Shield didn't go in there and just say, okay, well, Dr. Jones over here in Phoenix, Arizona, I see that you've reached your 70% threshold. Here's $250,000. The doctors had to say, let's see here. Bill over there in accounting, can you make sure that how many people we billed for the jab? Give me a percentage of how many of those are Blue Cross people. We hit 70. Then they have to tell Blue Cross, I hit 70. Give me my money. This is twisted. This is, I can't, it's hard for me to get my head around.
And the option for you is to try to figure out how to get you some government scratch because everyone else is getting it. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's all about money flows. The only flow charts that matter in Washington, D.C. is who gets money. We can argue all the things, all the problems in America. We can argue about crime and immigration. What I want to argue about is money. What I want to focus on from now until the election is where does the money go? Who's getting what? Who's getting rich off our backs? Because that's all it is. It's a washing machine, right? Your paycheck, whoop, money taken out. Or if you're self-employed, you write a check to the government. They take that money and they dole it out. That's all they do. So we have all these departments and we have all these committees in Washington, D.C., and they're all really great at spending your money and allocating who gets to spend your money. That's all the system is. It's a money system with some laws and some rules and some problems mixed in.
I was just watching, God love John Stossel. I absolutely love all things John Stossel. And Rob, I'm surprised you're not like lighting up here. How do you not love some John Stossel? He's the libertarian of libertarians.
Mm-hmm.
He just did it. Do you remember back in, I think it was 2020 or maybe 2018, when Pennsylvania passed the soda tax? $1 a soda. Remember this? And this was going to get 11 new learning centers. It was going to put 70 million or 700,000 or something like kids into pre-K. It's going to get them all, free pre-K. Do you think it did it? No, over half of it went to the state's general tax fund.
Yep.
And
there's no way.
I trust nothing. I trust nothing anymore.
That is it, Mike. That's the big, going back to Trudeau. That's the ultimate problem is here. The people that I trust are people like us on the ground level. Like I told you, I was in doing a business mastermind a couple weeks ago in Miami, and I'm there with 9 people. We didn't talk about politics. We didn't talk about tax rates. We didn't talk about the border. We talked about how to help each other out, grow each other's businesses. That's real stuff. That's where the realness happens. That's where real leadership happens. It doesn't happen in Washington. It doesn't happen in a committee. It doesn't happen in Mayor Pete Buttigieg's Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
Not where any of this happens. It happens between you and me, right? That's the real transaction. That's the real spot where differences are made. And that's why I focus more on that now than I do these knuckleheads. I just wish, Mike, we would figure out how to encourage different people to run so that they help us expose where all the money goes. Hey, this is what this is about. This is how much money we took out of your paycheck. Here's what we sent it on. Like Scotty saying, Ukraine getting rich. No doubt. You know who's really getting rich? Defense contractors.
Yep.
Your money. Because they're buying bombs from the defense contractors, sending them Ukraine, and probably UPS and FedEx or whoever's getting paid to bring the bombs to.
You got to buy our special packaging, though, and it's really special packaging.
Yes,
okay?
It is. It's over delivery, though.
Damn. If Amazon could just figure, I bet it's Amazon. They asked Zelensky, the dictator, Todd, are you a Prime member? We can get you that in 2 days.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to get to Rhonda in a second because she's bringing up some smoke over here, and I love it. That's so telling. But understand this, and I want to keep repeating this so people understand. There's one reason only that bozos like Biden are pushing. I know we don't push that the Biden and Trump stuff, but listen to this. There's reasons why they're pushing to get Ukraine into NATO. Because when Ukraine gets into NATO, that all of their entire military has to be repurchased. Everything has to be rebuilt to NATO standards. They have all of their ammunition, all of their missiles, tanks, trucks, every single little vans, transporter vans, everything has to be sold and rebought by who? Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, the money makers here in the Estados Unidos. But Mike, that'll add to the economy. You tell me where we're going to get our $1 trillion back. That's not going to do it. Not going to do it at all.
And that's our economy now. But when we have to pay the bills back, when Mike's kids and their kids, Mike's grandkids have to pay it back, it's going to hurt the economy.
I'm so excited. Nuge, my son, is just very, very close to getting a job. I can't wait till he gets that first paycheck. I'm going to lose my mind. I'm just going to like popcorn. Like, okay, buddy, open it. Open it, pal. I want it. Just read. He's going to be like, who the hell is this FICO guy that just took all his money from me?
Damn right. That's your uncle, Uncle FICO right there. You need to do the line in The Matrix when he's sitting there and he takes the red pill and he goes, "Welcome to the real world, Nuge."
Yes, that's right. Damn right. Holy mackerel. Rhonda brings some fire. Rhonda, I'm going to put my glasses on because you're going to make me put my glasses on.
So a good idea.
I tell you what. My husband is a data analyst for a health insurance company. He can see how much ER utilization went down as well as how many few people were diagnosed with the flu during 2020. I think 8 whole total in this nation were diagnosed with flu. Hospitals got paid to have COVID deaths. She said, my friend's sister had a heart attack and the hospital listed the cause of death as COVID. The hospital told the family that the government would pay for her funeral if they left it on the death certificate. I'm going to repeat that. Deanna, I love that you're saying this. The hospital told the family the government would pay for her funeral if they left the COVID as the cause of death on the death certificate. They refused and had them make them change the death certificate. Happened in Colorado. Does any of that surprise anyone?
No.
Doesn't that, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you can go, and I should find this again, Robbie. I wonder if it's still on the CDC site. Remember that document I always had during Russell and Hunter? Mm-hmm. That it was all the causes of death. It was everything that was ever listed as causes of death for COVID. And the last 14 pages are some of the most absurd things that you would like, gunshot to the head, COVID death, fell off a 14-story building, COVID death. And it's from the CDC site. Remember, trust the CDC, right? Yeah. Listen, we'll follow the CDC. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Rhonda said that his stepbrother's cousin, died in a car accident. Sorry about that. Listed as COVID death. Remember death certificate matching? So if you had a COVID case, a confirmed COVID case for 6 months, I think it was called a COVID death.
But see, let's think about this on a broader level, even going back to the food, Mike, and saying that eggs are bad for you and you can't have butter and you can't have salt, can't have too much red meat. Well, all of those are not true because all of those are good uses of protein and whatever else for your body, right? It needs it to function. So the government has always been pushing frauds in various forms. For example, the reasons we got in Vietnam. That was concealed at the very beginning, covered up. And then the whole Vietnam War happens, and we don't learn any lessons because you can make the case pretty easily. We should have gone to Afghanistan in 2001 after 9/11. Great, go get bin Laden. But then we're like, we got to go to Iraq. Oh, that was a fraud too. And that was another thing on the Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan podcast that he talked about. And I've mentioned this to you, Mike. That's when it really started to dawn on me how information is used for people in media like us, Mike, how we're fed government information and that government information turns out to be wrong or turns out to be a lie, turns out to be fraud in this COVID case. That's that realization that this has been going on for a lot longer than we knew because we all had this assumption that it's America, man. Land of the free, home of the brave. We love this country. Of course, the government's going to fib a little bit, but
yeah.
Are they going to be blatantly disrespectful to the American people? And the answer to that question is yes. Yeah. And that is indicative of the people who go to Washington and who hire for these cabinet positions in these bureaucracies because they really don't have the country's, yours and my, best interests at heart. They have their friends and their fraud and their money interests at heart.
Rob is, after 17 years of being as tight as we are, he's very in tune to when I'm just off. And I'd come into the studio and it's funny because Rob would do this. He just kind of laid it out a little bit, see if it might just be my head hurt or whatever like this. And he just kind of wait a second. And then he'd go like this. He'd lay back in his chair like this, cross his arms and go, okay, what's going on, man? He'd know what's up. And one time that happened is when I just got off a plane and I came right into the studio, and I had just seen a bank of vending machines at the airport. And I said, bro, COVID is not going to go away. It's its own industry now. There is a COVID industrial complex going on. I just saw a bank of PPE vending machines at the airport. That crap is not going to go away. Yeah, it's just not. There's probably a contract with the airport. Somebody's making money and kickback, this, that, and the other thing. It ain't going to go away. And it hasn't gone away. For the love of grief, look at these damn protests. Kids are wearing masks. I was like, y'all
ruined those kids. Ruined them.
Stop.
They're so mad they walked out on the least offensive comedian of all time, Jerry Seinfeld.
Most vanilla comedian you could possibly have.
Exactly.
Why are they leaving? That's all I got for Seinfeld. That's all I have.
It's all we need. It's all we need.
Right. He gave me my Jewish joke. I use it all the time. I'm like, he's not full Jewish. I always say that all the time. And that's from Jerry Seinfeld. He's like, I'm not full Jew. I'm just Jewish. Yeah. And that would have been a great line as they're walking out. Hey, everybody, I'm not full Jew. I'm just Jewish. That would have been fantastic.
That would have been awesome.
Brought the crowd down. God, I love him.
Oh, I could sit again. It's okay. Whew.
Yeah. Speaking of crowds, Rob and I kind of consider ourselves master debaters. Anyway, we love to debate. It is what we do, and we do it well. And it's something that we've studied, and we've become pretty proficient at it. If you want at a collegiate level to hit the tippity top of the mountain, Girl Scout, you got to go to Oxford. Oxford debate is it. Oxford debate is probably where these are the young Jedi of debate. These are the future world leaders. They're going to figure things out because they're tough. They're researched. They know how to present an argument. They're fantastic. Nancy Pelosi, the crypt keeper herself, Nancy Pelosi thought she was, because of her just insane DC arrogance and just whatever, narcissism. That's the word I was looking for. Went to Oxford to debate one of the students and got her tuchus handed to her. Tuchus, for those that don't speak Yiddish and you're out there in the protest and whatnot, because Yiddish is basically Jewish slang. That means butt. She had her butt handed to her by a student. I'm gonna let you listen to this. This is absolutely fantastic. It's actually, his part of it is about 5 to 6 minutes. I'm not going to put that on you right now, but it's fabulous. It is wonderful. And it is just, here's Nancy Pelosi. Listen to this.
That using whether it's people different from me, nationalism, populism, is a very dangerous threat to democracy, not just in America where we're seeing it play out, but in the whole world, in the context of a fight between democracy.
Look at Paul. Paul's asleep, I think. I'm pretty sure Paul Pelosi right next to, I'm pretty sure he's asleep. If he's not asleep, and I want to hear this, he got hit in the nugget, he's got brain damage, so do I. And I'm not sitting here asleep when Rob talks. So he's dead asleep because he knows that what she's just spouting is a bunch of nonsense. He's waiting to go make his stock trades. It's probably what he's doing on his phone right there and making $1 billion with inside trading. But he actually kind of looks like, if you follow the Harry Potter thing, it looks like one of the professors at Hogwarts at that dinner they have at the beginning of each of the movies. And he's just falling asleep because he's 500-year-old wizard and he's just done with it all. Because Lord knows he's married to a witch. Oh,
democracy and autocracy. Not mine, but the version of populism, ethno-nationalist populism, which tries to bring down education and fake news, the media, which is a protector of democracy. That version is contributing in countries other than
literally the worst debater in history. I don't know how many pills she washed down with her bottle of wine before she jumped up there, but she's making absolute sense. No sense at all. It's like the, what's the Adam Sandler movie? You know what I'm talking about, buddy. Help me out.
Which one?
No, the one where he goes to school.
Oh man. Why am I?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one.
Where he debates in the debate moderator's like, we are all
Billy
less intelligent. Billy, thank you. Less intelligent for hearing you say that. Yeah.
That's a great.
This is what Pelosi's doing.
Our country, and is a danger to democracy. We think democracy is on the ballot in America. It's a victory that we must win because it will only make matters worse.
Now, how cool is that? Rob, listen, I'm going to ask Rob this, guys. Rob, how much would you love to be in that room, a room like that, to just throw down some debate? Dude, that just gets me excited. That's that's like, seriously, that's like 50-yard line at Gillette for you, dude. I mean, that's like, that's wow.
Let's
that's hallowed
go.
ground. I would love to do that stuff. Okay, so she's rambling on and on and on. So here comes Junior. He's gonna let me get over here to my man here. Okay, well, here we go. A few moments later.
You may be thinking now that Trump is a populist. You are right. He didn't accept the 2020 elections, and he should have.
Okay, by the way, this is about 4 minutes into his rant, and he is rocking. He is destroying Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi has already interrupted him once and said, January 6th was a deadly insurrection incited by the President Trump. And everybody just laughed at her and the whole thing. This is not the only time they're going to laugh at her.
Hillary in 2016, so should Brussels, and so should Westminster in 2016, and so too should Congresswoman Pelosi, instead of saying the 2016 election was, quote, hijacked. Quote, hijacked.
She said it was. He said she blurts out it was. It was. Watch and listen to the reaction.
Thank you.
Even Paul's laughing. Look, Paul is laughing at her right there. He's like, you idiot. Oh my gosh.
If it was rigged by Hillary for being a horrible candidate.
Yeah.
It
was hijacked by Hillary. Yeah. She actually wrote what her book was called what happened?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, in her picture was on the cover. That answers the question.
That's it.
Right there. You didn't even have to read one page of the book. That's what happened. But it's right, but it kind of goes back to the Trudeau thing. These people think they're powerful. College debaters are mopping the floor with former speakers of the House. It is absolutely, it's so clear, it's blinding that these leaders think they still have any kind of power. Social media and kids like this, young men like this, they got the power now because they have the knowledge. There's not much you can throw by them. You're not getting any curveballs by them. And social media runs the joint. Nancy Pelosi is just quite literally a dying breed.
And that's going back to this information idea, in that the politicians used to be able to control a lot more of what was known, what was said.
Yeah.
Now they can't. And now they can't control the talking points as much because they're all terrible. So what I love about this student is pointing out the obvious, right? Trump did what he did in 2020. He took it further than anybody else did, but he wasn't the first to say an election was quote unquote stolen. Hillary still says it, not even caring how hypocritical she sounds, same as Pelosi. They don't think they're hypocrites because they think they're morally righteous. And people like Pelosi think that human beings like you need to be managed by smarter people like her and Paul, who get information that you don't have and make boatloads of money on it. Because I don't know about you, if you ever traded stocks, once in a while you miss one. Paul Pelosi, batting 1,000.
He hadn't missed.
No one else is batting 1,000 in the history of trading stocks. But Paul Pelosi is somehow, some way.
And look at him. He's sitting there like a bump on a log, just laughing at his wife. I went with another W word. I'll say it. Which fine.
Okay.
Okay. So let us know in the comments. By the way, Robbie, I just sent you the full version of that. I just sent it over to the full version of it. If you guys want us to play it at the end, we'll just play it at the end. I have zero problem with that. I mean, it's 5 minutes. It's not that big a deal. But yeah, he just mops the floor with her. It's fantastic. Let's get on something that is let's keep on fantastic, shall we, Rob?
Yes.
All right, let's keep on fantastic. There was 2 whistleblowers for Boeing, basically coming out with all these doors falling off of things, engines lighting on fire, all this. They said, well, hey, here's the reason. We know why, because they've cut corners. It's a you know what show up in Seattle. It's awful what they're doing in Boeing. They're making garbage aircraft. And we're putting 200 people into these metal tubes and flying them, 500 miles an hour, 30,000 feet above the ground. This is not safe, y'all. Magically, both of those whistleblowers suicided themselves magically. Wow, they were just crushed with having to do the burden of having to do that. So they killed themselves. 10 more have come out. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to these 10, but 10 more, like these guys are right. It was. So now, because of this, and not just people whacking whistleblowers, because I'm going to say it, Epstein didn't kill himself. Neither did those 2 whistleblowers, period. They didn't. So anyway, this is what needs to happen. Here is a flight that is about to leave LAX to Hawaii. Now put yourself in these shoes. All right. You're on the plane. Y'all been planning this vacation. Rob is a big traveler, so Rob gets this. Y'all go through the rigmarole of getting everything done and getting all these people together and doing all this and getting your family together. And when you have kids, by the way, there's no vacation, no such thing as vacation. It's simply relocation. Just relocate all your crap to another location and then you bring it back. That's what it is. So these people have done this, and then they hear this from the Capitan.
Just being observed, so to speak, because oil pressure on the number 2 engine is trending upwards, and the aircraft is going to require, actually it's the fuel pressure.
That's big. It's important.
Fuel system filter replacement when the aircraft gets back from Hawaii.
When it gets back. Yeah.
They've told us that the plane's good to go, but I'm not really feeling it. I'm not going to leave the ground if I'm not completely certain that we have an airworthy aircraft. So I'm going to probably err on the side of caution, and I'm refusing the aircraft. So what that means for you right now, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if we have another airplane here at the airport, but I hate to do this to you, but this is one of those tough calls that I have to make, and I feel a lot more comfortable making this call than flying 6 hours over the water and maybe having an issue.
Good call. This guy deserves an award. He'll most likely be fired, or I don't know, he might find himself suicided. I think that this is that troubling, that if there is something, there's just it's a fuel filter on one of the engines, on a 4-engine plane. One of the engines needs a new fuel filter. We can get that when it gets back. No big deal. You know what? Not in today's environment. I don't trust Boeing, and it's just too much of it. Too many problems here. That's amazing.
6-hour flight from Cali and a 6-hour flight back. That's 12 hours of flying time where there's nowhere else to land in between here in Hawaii. So yes, good call.
Yeah.
And I'm glad there's pilots like that. I had no idea that pilots could make that call. No idea.
I didn't either, but he said he's going to refuse the aircraft. Now, when he said that, I think, okay, it's probably a standard issue. Like, okay, Captain, is this your aircraft? Is this your aircraft? Yes, this is my aircraft. I'm on it. Everything checks out. We're good and we're golden. And he just said, you know what? I'm refusing it. Not my aircraft. It's a big, have we learned nothing from Spider-Man? With great power has great responsibility, comes great responsibility. I butchered that quote, and I shouldn't have. I'm a Marvel guy, but he's Sony. Get it? He's really Sony. I still have my Marvel cred. I still have my Marvel cred now. I do. I got my Marvel cred. So all right. So let's. But understand, especially Rob, who travels a lot more than I do on airplanes. I mean, my next trip out of the country is going to be in a car. So I really, I don't do a lot of air travel. But what you've seen in the changes, Rob, is fascinating to me, and it makes me even more confident. I love the Southwestern United States. I think it's fantastic. They got a lot of stuff here. They have cool stuff I need to see. You now have to get your picture taken. What's up, Jay? You need to get your picture taken, and you everywhere you go. And now, if you're on a Boeing plane, which is pretty much everywhere, you're really sure it's airworthy? And you're going to have a pilot that is that conscious and was going to make that decision to piss off 200 people going to Hawaii. Like, this was it. They're taking off to Hawaii. How exciting that is. How wonderful. He's going to say, we're going to sit here until we get another plane. Are you comfortable flying?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean,
you're a psycho.
Well, it's one of those trade-offs that you understand that you're in the sky, you're in someone else's control. And maybe something happens, but I've flown who knows how many times. It's been okay. So I'm going to keep at it. Now, the last time I was on a Boeing 737 MAX, I did look at the little card that they give you that's in the seat back pocket. And I was like, oh.
Wait, what? Whoa. What was on there?
Well, nothing. It's just, it's the Boeing 737. So it's all the same features and what to do. Yeah, but I'm sitting there looking at it going, oh, this is a 737. This is the same kind of plane that had the door blow off recently because they didn't put enough bolts in it because Boeing has cut corners. And then I thought to myself, all right, time to go.
Yeah, you're launching your Prudential app saying, is my life insurance up? How are we doing this here? Is this good?
Exactly.
Are we good? Yeah, who are my beneficiaries? Ma, you might be getting a check soon. Yeah. I'm not trusting any of that stuff at all. I'm not trusting any. Okay, irrational fears are rational. But Rhonda, I think that if I understand that. And I have always, and Rob can back me on this, I've always maintained that even with school shootings, school is the safest place you can send your kid every single day. They're good. Statistically, the numbers bear out. It just is what it is. Stats are stats, science is science. Air travel is insanely safe if you look at the numbers. But when I start to see a pattern of a certain type of aircraft made by a certain manufacturer, and then you see pilots that are this skittish, they're going to tick off the entire world, and it's going to cost his company a lot of money. But he does it because he's like, dude, I don't want to die. I want to get back to my family. I don't want to dump this thing in the Pacific, but I might have to, and I don't want to even take that risk. So I understand that I don't think it's very irrational to kind of be cautious and go, you know what? Going to stay away from the Boeing aircraft as best I can. I have no problem with that. 12 now. It's going to be a dozen total employees coming out going, yeah, y'all, they're not making safe planes.
Well, but the challenge is there aren't many other options because there's Airbus, there's Boeing, and a few other smaller manufacturers.
Yeah.
So because we have these big conglomerate companies that make these things, you don't have a ton of options. So the option would be to go in and make sure each aircraft is safe, the right bolts are in place, the fuel line is replaced, rather than, yeah, you know what, it's not really great, but we think we can fly to Hawaii and back without causing a problem. Fuel is how the airplane gets there. Yes. But that's just it. And this is what I think Boeing's problem is. And I think this is a problem for most companies. Think Blockbuster Video, same thing. They decided that profit matters more than innovation. So instead of getting innovations tied to profit. So Netflix is going through this too. They basically destroyed Blockbuster because they had the new model. They shipped you the DVD, then they got into streaming. Well, now they're nickel and diming you. So Netflix, it used to be, we had a family account and there were 6 of us on it. We had it for 5 years, no problem, until Netflix decided all of us needed our own accounts. This is, instead of innovating, getting better products, putting better TV shows and movies on the platform to draw more people in, they've exhausted that option. So now they have to nickel and dime you. So instead of the company being focused on innovation, they're focused on profit. Same thing happened to Boeing. Boeing innovated plane design, I don't even know how many times, but they haven't done it in a long time.
No.
And I've been to the Boeing plant and watched them as they were building a 787 Dreamliner, and it's this magnificently huge airplane, and the detail that goes into it is astounding. But if they're cutting corners because they got to keep their margins up to keep shareholders happy, and they're cutting corners, eventually it does lead to a door blowing off. In an incident like that, safety is incredibly important, and you've damaged your reputation, which puts your profit at risk. And now if you're in this, I assume it was an American Airlines plane because there was an American Airlines plane there. So now you're American Airlines, you got this pilot who's worried about flying the plane. So now a plane full of people going to Hawaii, which is not a cheap flight, they're on the ground, and now the airline has to scramble to figure out how to get them to Hawaii.
Right. But at the same time, I mean, how hard is that? I mean, how hard is that? Is it the minute that was decided, okay, we're going to replace that when we get back, replace it now.
Yeah. Take 2 hours.
What? Yeah, you got an hour delay of a flight. What else do you expect when you go to the airport? How often do you go to, and Rob travels a lot, how often do you expect your flight to be dead on time?
Every time.
You do not. You liar.
I expect it every
you
time.
have that expectation, but how much does it surprise you when it's not?
I've actually had a good run lately, minus a couple of
points. I'm trying to make a point here, Rob. You're killing me. You're killing me.
But, well, they pad the time. See, they cheat on this, too. They pad the time. It's crazy. They said, we're going to leave at 10 o'clock, and you're going to land at 6. But in reality, you're going to land at 5:10, but they just pad it just in case they leave.
Yeah, right.
So they even trick you on that so that you can't even really tell unless it's obviously late numerous times. But it does happen, and it's quite annoying.
Yeah. And I think, Dan, I think it's gonna happen. It'll happen soon. I mean, I don't think it's too far off. I mean, but answer this question for me, because I live right by Luke Air Force Base. So explain this to me. Why do drone pilots wear flight suits? Moving on. Just moving on. My kid can fly a plane from his chonies from his room. He was given the Xbox controller, and he could land. He could take this thing from LA to Hawaii.
Easy.
Yeah. Just give him a big family-sized bag of Doritos and some Monster Energy drinks. He's good.
In case of an emergency, drink another Monster Energy drink and figure out what to do.
Don't worry, your pilot's all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Woo-hoo!
Spider monkey.
Been flying for months. Never been on a plane myself, but man, I can get you there.
Know how to fly them, especially the Boeings.
Yeah, I hope y'all had a good Mother's Day. Mother's Day was trying to be hijacked by the trans community. And if you were anywhere near social media, you saw a lot of this, and it was just it's just like, come on, y'all. Look, we're celebrating moms. Just let us celebrate moms for the day. It's okay. Let's let us celebrate moms. Don't make it all about you. Let's just make it about moms, because those are the important ones. That's the A team right there, the moms. How about this one?
I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant here, because you know what sucks?
Oh, what does suck?
It was recently Mother's Day.
Yesterday, yeah.
And my mother is one of the sweetest, kindest, and most supportive and accepting people I've ever met and I've ever known. And I love her greatly.
Oh, get on with it, sister.
As I've become an adult, she and I have become closer than ever.
Okay,
because of some shared experiences in life.
No one cares.
But I live in Texas.
Yeah.
Now, I live in a very liberal and accepting part of Texas.
There's only one, and its name is Austin.
And I am very lucky to do so.
Oh, good for you.
Where
Makes
I
me
grew
not want
up,
to live in Austin.
Where my mom lives is nothing like that.
Oh. No.
So, guess who did not get to go home and visit their mother for Mother's Day? Me. I had to settle for calling her.
Because what? People have MAGA signs in their front yard. Like, what are you afraid of? Since when has there been like a trans mob that came to you with torches and pitchforks? Like, get real. You're gonna drive your butt from your house to mom's house, park in the driveway, go in the house. Nobody's gonna even know you're there, because guess what, sister? As much as you think they do, no one cares. No one does. This day's not about you. And by the way, have you heard of Uber?
Plus, you chose not to.
Truth.
You chose not to bring your mom to Austin, Texas, which you could have done. If you were going to fly out to see your mom or drive out to see your mom, do it in reverse. What's the deal? So here's the other challenge with the world right now, is because we all have phones and social media accounts, we can just complain about anything and it might go viral. Your complaint. Because, again, you forget something very important. You have had the freedom to change your mind about who you are. That is how amazing your life is. You decided you were born a thing and you wanted to be another thing. That says, oh, hell yeah, amazing. Good job. You live in a country, in a place, in a state, in a city that just went, good for you, man. Yeah. And you can't go back to see your mom? No. You chose not to go back and see your mom.
But to portray this idea that conservative towns vilify anybody that isn't like it, it's not what happens. This isn't pre-civil rights movement. Look, you don't act like you're a Black American back pre-civil rights. You're not even close. You quite literally have everything, every opportunity, everything. It's your choice to wear blue hair, put a bunch of things in your face, and expect everybody to treat you like everybody else. Everybody else just wants you to act right, act normal, and mind your own damn business, and don't make it mine. That's not evil. Just because you can't run down the street and say, hi, I love my mom, she loves me because I'm gay, and not get people going, just go, shut up, go to your mom's house. We don't want to talk to you. Oh, I'm being oppressed. You have no idea what oppression is, sister. None.
No. And I think that's an important point to bring up, in that it really showcases how selfish some people are, that everything's about them. But in reality, Mike, you're exactly right. No one's thinking about you, because we're too busy thinking about ourselves and trying to manage our way through the world as it is, to be like, well, I used to know this trans activist in Austin, Texas, but since they've become a trans activist, they've made all these problems. I don't care. You do you. And that's how most people think automatically by default.
Yeah.
So your fear is dictating your life, which means your life is going to be unfulfilling. That's just the bottom line for this person who is struggling so much, being able to express themselves freely.
my sister and I and intern Sarah took my mom out to breakfast, brunch, whatever. And I'm really, as a conservative dude, I'm not looking around going, who around here is gay? It better not being one of those LGBTQIA people around here. What? Who's gay? I don't care. I wanted to have my omelet. That's what I wanted. And I had an IPA because I'm an American and I can. I didn't care about anybody's sexuality. However, there was a host, I don't know, at this place where we did not understand if it was an adult, a child, a male, or a female. And monopolized a little bit of the conversation. That was it. There was no like, oh, I can't have any of these gays around. You know, it was like, I don't know really don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with this one.
I call you sir, I call you ma'am.
I'm just going to go with they. They seated me, and the whole way to the table, I'm like, no idea what's going on here. I have no idea what's happening. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, you see it more frequently, right? You see it, and I don't comment it. I'm like, okay, that's you. This is you being you right now. Good for you.
And I then Greg might not like me because I think hockey is. Never mind. What's going on? I love you, Greg. It's all good. But all right, so let me hold on a second. I wanted to bring this up because to my church going brethren out there, this is another example of the trans community trying to hijack Mother's Day. But there's an important point here that is being just brushed over. Listen to this. Yes.
Day is especially significant for me because it's the first Mother's Day that I am celebrating since coming out as trans and
no one cares.
Starting HRT.
Okay.
So it's kind of special.
No, you're making it my business. It's not special. Maybe to you it's special. That's wonderful. I don't know. You don't care.
At church this Sunday morning, they gave all the moms carnations and letters saying Happy Mother's Day, and I was happy to be a recipient of one of those. I took. Okay,
you're gonna paint over that? You're gonna brush over that? What's up, yo? LGBTQ community, yo, step up and listen to this right here. Remember, it's the Christian right that is so oppressive. It is the Christian church that is so oppressive. It is all these churches saying that what they're doing is bad. You come into my church, guess what? I don't care. You get you a chick? All right, here, good. You're gay, cool. I don't care. So come on up here, front row. Grab it up here. We don't do any of that. There's no judgment. In my spiritual gift is judgment. I don't even judge this chick. Whatever, dude, do your thing. But don't just say like, oh, I'm so oppressed because I went to a church and I was treated as every other woman is. Guess what? You do that in any church, you're going to get the same treatment.
At home and showed my daughter and who is 8. And she said, but you're not a mom. I said, well, yes, I am. And she said, no, you're not. And the reason she said that is because my wife doesn't allow her to call me mom.
Okay, this is what this is about. So what happened is that her in wifey hubs, whatever it is, they're having a marital spat, and there's a big difference in what's going on here. And she decides to take this to social media and throw her wife out, throw her wife's laundry out on the street. That's what this is all about. What's that?
She threw both her 8-year-old under the bus and her wife. Like, okay. I think that might cause some problems in that marriage when that video is posted. Like, wow, really going to call me out like that? Just like that, huh? Right on the TikTok. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because again, right, it gets back to this idea that this self-importance comes from other people's opinions of you and the attention that other people give you. And self-importance is really derived from you. But you are no more important than anybody else is, because we're all equally important, at least to a certain degree, right? Until we, commit crimes and things, and things change. But that just, I think that in my communications coaching that I do is very much focused on how, when you're emotional, how you communicate. Because when you're emotional, you're not communicating logically. You're not looking at, you were accepted at church, and now I'm going to go in public on a video camera. I'm going to blast my family, including my kid, because my kid doesn't call me mom, because maybe they're a little weirded out by your transition. Maybe they're not. I don't know what, I'm just supposing for a second, because there's obviously some tension there. Keep the tension in your house. Work it out.
Yeah, right.
That's all. And instead, this post could have been, you know what? I just transitioned 6 months ago, and I still love to go to church. And I wasn't sure how the church was going to accept me today on this Mother's Day, but this was amazing. They treated me like all the other moms. They gave me a carnation and a hug, and I'm incredibly grateful to be accepted as who I am. You could very easily make that a positive story rather than, yeah, I did all that and I got accepted, but I don't like my daughter. I don't like my wife.
Right. Throw it on social media. That kid, you know how many times that kid this morning heard, hey, saw your mom, dad, whatever on social media. Saw your parent on social media. What a bozo. Like, just making that kid's problem.
Well, and from the 8-year-old, right? You know, if you grow up in a hetero relationship, like the vast majority of us do, you have a mom, you have a dad. Now, that was the case in this household. There was a mom and a dad. Dad decides he didn't want to be a dad anymore, wants to be a mom. So it's a little bit of a change. That's not easy for everybody to deal with. You know what I mean?
Understatement of the decade.
Exactly.
It's like the Kardashians are so bad. They took a American male athlete treasure and turned him into a chick. Think about that, y'all. Think about that. Bruce Jenner's worth of $150 million because he was the world's greatest athlete, the gold medal decathlon winner. He was it. He was man. He was the Wheaties box. He was it. And the Kardashians are so awful and such horrible people. They turned him into a woman. There should be a crime. They should be rung up for that.
There's numerous rap songs that reference Bruce Jenner, and I listen to them now, and I just laugh. If only they had known in '94 when they wrote that rhyme.
Yeah. Oh, but right. The best is the German guy that got the silver. He's like, I lost to a woman.
Yeah, that is a case where a woman is better than a man.
Oh my gosh. Let's get to some of these comments. Scotty Scott, that's right, buddy. He is the same. Justin Trudeau is the same schmuck that says that you can't have any handguns sales or transfers. What could possibly go wrong in that? Yes, it's bad. Deanna, this is pretty rad. This is up Rob's alley right here. I have over 300 vinyls, 45s, single songs. They were a little to no CD singles when they changed the medium. And that's right. They didn't. I mean, CDs didn't have the singles. It was little to no. I don't even think they ever had. Do you remember that, Rob? Did they have any of that?
Yeah, CD singles. There was a thing for a little bit. It was like $2.99 before an album came out that you could buy.
Yeah, build up. But vinyls come back. Vinyls expensive. My kid has intern Beans has a record player, and I'm like, I don't want to go buy you a $45 album. What are you talking about? That's incredible. It's a lot of dough. Our buddy, Khaled's on a Color 8 band. I kept telling him, I'm like, dude, if you sell merch at your concerts, and by the way, he's got a big show coming up at the Crescent Ballroom, so check it out. Color 8
next
band.
Friday.
Next Friday. Yeah. They're gonna be filming there. It's gonna be way cool. But I said, dude, just press some vinyl. I'm just gonna cost you a little money, but you can sell these damn things for like $30-$45. And he didn't do it. Yeah, he'll get there. No. Don't worry. He'll come around to it. He'll come around to it. But Rob, this kind of goes to kind of deal. I don't know if you've heard the song yet because he's a big Eric Church fan now. Record year?
I don't think I've heard that one.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Yeah, Having a Record Year. That's a great song. Great Eric Church song. Nice. Having a Record Year, please. Yes, it's fantastic. So, yes, okay. Let's get to this. Let's stay on it.
You can buy hers.
What's that?
What they are, Deanna.
Oh yeah. Holy cow! All right, yes, hold on. I'm way back at the earlier comments. Yeah. So we stuck with we covered the doctors pretty clearly there. Yes, and yeah, Lynn. I mean, seriously, doctors didn't want to pay for the insurance didn't want to pay for your seizure medicine. Come on. Like, there should be a list of meds. That's got to be at the top. That's covered if you pay for insurance. For the love of all things holy. Like, really?
Pay for people's Ozempic. It's like $900 a month. Come on.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah. Yes, but the whole scam of that. Yes. All right, let's get here. And Greg, I appreciate that. The MAGA Matters thing. You guys should check that out, dude. Appreciate you chiming in there with it. Grizz is a new listener as well. What's it? All right. Why is she such a proponent of democracy when the U.S. is a republic? Here's the reason why, Dan. Rob, you can take this one. I take it if you want. This is because we got rid of civics classes and we now take social studies, and our kids don't learn how our democracy works. And it's not a democracy. It's a representative republic. And there's a democratic portion of that, but that's not what you should say. It should be our republic is at stake. And she knows that the public school system has dumbed our kids down so much that she can say whatever the hell she wants, and they'll see it as fact.
Gets down to that control of information again. And this is the big notice. And many of you that are parents noticed this during COVID. The information that your kids are being told in school is not the same information we were told when we were in school, whether that's 30 years ago, 50 years ago. The whole ideology has changed, and language is contagious. So if you hear something in history class when you're a kid, you believe that to be true. So if you're taught that America is a democracy, you believe that. If you're taught that America will never recover from its original sin of slavery that hasn't happened since 1864, and you still think that, America's horrible because in the second chapter of America that didn't allow slavery, we still suck because of the first chapter. What?
Yeah.
But that becomes contagious. And then all of a sudden you have kids marching on college campuses, caring about a group of people that live 7,000 miles away.
Yeah, and they will kill them openly the minute they get a chance.
I just read a story today. It was in the New York Times, I think, in all places, of how Hamas has been spying on the average Palestinian forever and looking into their political activities, spying on them to make sure they're in the regime. So none of those kids would ever trade places with a Palestinian where, all right, you're going to take this Palestinian-born woman. She's going to get to go to Columbia University. You get to go to Gaza. Good luck.
Yeah. And by the way, I go with the Bill Maher, basically on the whole original sin of slavery. I go with the Bill Maher notion on this one. He said, basically, back in those days, if you could afford a slave, you had one. Period. All around the world, not just in the United States. Go back, the Egyptians, Sumerians, everything. Slav comes from Slavic. Slave comes from Slav, which is Slavic because there's so many Slavs were slaves. Not here in the United States, all around the world. If you could afford one, you had one. So it's not. That's a global sin. And you think it's gone? By the way, it's not gone.
This comes in different forms.
Stick, I got to tell you, bro. We haven't taken calls for the 4 years we were on Russell and Hunter. We don't do the calls. These are our calls. You want to participate in the comments here, and let's hang out, man. Let's have a chat. I'm totally cool with that. Chat away. It's all good. We get to the comments at the end of every show. If it's in the flow of the conversation, we discuss it in there, and that's just the way we do it.
And it would be very difficult to take phone calls in this current technological format. In addition to that, Mike.
Yeah, in Rhonda, I believe you had a wonderful Mother's Day. Your 26-year-old kid taking you out. That's a big thing, and you raised a good kid. That's for sure. How about this? By the way, this is wild. Rob will freak out about this because she calls him Uncle Rob. So intern Sarah, when the bill came, my sister was going to do it because I bought mom the gift and she was going to get breakfast, and so she was reaching out for that. Sarah just grabbed the check, grabbed the credit card, and just threw it down. She's like, I can do this, and that was the first time that had ever happened. 23 years. I was there in the room for her birth. So I've 23 years I've been with this kid. I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars thrown at this kid. She just goes, I got this. And I feel like I won. I feel like it all been paid back right in that moment. I was like, oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah, because certainly at 23, it happened a lot sooner than I did in my radio career.
Right. Yeah.
Until I was like 40.
Yeah. But she's a school teacher, so she doesn't have a ton of money. But she's got that military cat, that little sugar daddy of hers.
Married,
the same age, they're high school sweethearts. You know what I'm saying?
And they're ridiculously cute together.
They are. It's
almost as if there's no other person for either one of them because they're perfect for each other.
The kid's so damn smart that he just gets bored. He works for General Dynamics, and he just got bored. He's getting his college degree at the same time. GI Bill, all that. And he's just like, I got bored. I went to learn how to be a I don't know what kind of helicopter captain, whatever. And I want to shoot 50 cals out the side of a helicopter. So he's been gone for 4 months learning how to do that.
How about that?
Because that's what you do. Holy, comes back on Wednesday. Comes back in 2 days. I know. That's right. Yes, right. All right, guys. Well, hey, we've had one hell of a time. Rob, you got anything else?
Go out, make it a great week. We'll see you on Friday.
Appreciate that comment at the end there, Greg. Appreciate that. I like the little nitro and glycerine. Yeah, well, yeah.
Which one's which?
Rob always went with Stockton and Malone pick and roll for the OG NBA guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Appreciate you guys. We'll do this Friday at noon at the Russell and Hunters, the Brewmance, the Friday nooner. We'll see you then. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks.